Morning, everyone. Isabel?
Good morning. Are we ready to start?
Yeah, it's 10 on the dot now.
Okay. Well then, good morning, everyone, and welcome to SAEP's annual general meeting 2022. And thank you so very much for joining us today, whether you have dialed in from your home office like I did or are physically gathered at one of SAEP's offices in Cape Town. Thank you for being here and for taking the time out of your weekend activities. We appreciate it. In today's meeting, we'll be looking back at last year's highs and lows and last year's achievements and challenges. And we'll be looking back at an overall exciting and important year in SAP's history. 2021 was a year that brought quite a few changes to the organization, not only due to the ongoing pandemic that comes with its very own challenges, of course. 2021 was the year during which a new strategic direction of expansion and growth was developed for the organization. 2021, did I say two? Well, we all know we're looking back at 2021. 2021 was also the first year under brand new leadership. The first year for SAEP's new director, Donovan Fullard, who took over from Jane Keane at the beginning of last year. Before we get started with today's proceedings, I would like to take this opportunity to say just a very short but heartfelt thank you to Donovan and to his entire team, to all of you at SAEP. Thank you for your commitment to the organization and for your passion for the important work that SAEP continues to do each and every day. Often under extremely challenging circumstances. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that later today as well. Furthermore, I'd like to thank our donors and partners, as well as my fellow board members of the board of directors for their continued support, time, and expertise. I'm excited to see where SAP is going to go, and I'm excited to see the organization flourish and expand. I'm truly grateful to be a part of this journey, working alongside some pretty exceptional and inspirational people that all form part of the SAP family. You will be hearing from many of them directly during today's AGM. So without further ado, the first one of these pretty exceptional and inspirational people you'll be hearing from now is our fabulous Murdri Mushanguri, who will be guiding us through today's meeting. Murdri, over to you.
Thank you so much, Isabel. Welcome once again to our 28th annual general meeting. I would like to just ask Andile to take us through our Zoom meeting so that we are all on the same page as we journey along. Andile, are you ready?
Yes, Mama Mitch, thank you very much. Okay, everyone, just a quick things to look out for as the meeting is going on. We have the mic on your far left. If there's a line across it, that means we can hear you. And the video next to it, if there's a line across, that means we can see you. So you can toggle between those two to switch them on and off, and only switch the mic when you speak. And if you want to see who's in the meeting, you can go to participants and you can chat directly with individuals on the participants. And on chats as well, that's where you'll be able to raise your hand if you have questions and all that. And someone will read the charts and communicate them to the to the madam speak. And for reactions, you can, if you agree on things or you have questions, you can raise your hand there as well next to reactions. And the next setting is for how you want the meeting to be viewed on your side. On your top right, there should be a template for you to see how you want to view the meeting, whether you want the speaker to be brought forward or you want to view everyone that is part of the meeting. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andile. As we go forward with our meeting, I would just like to ask the participants to remove our masks just for a moment so that we know who is behind the cameras. We have got teams in BG office and in Waverley office. And I'll start off with the Waverley office. If we could just introduce the team behind the camera. Waverley office, how many people do we have in the room? That is BG office, greeting everyone. Thank you, BG office. Waverley.
Hi, you have Mumbai Nosisa here. We'll be connecting together, Waverley office.
Oh, someone says the BG office here a bit blurred, so they couldn't see you. Will you just there they are. Hi. Okay, that is another Waverley office as well connecting. Thank you all. We will be having some guests coming in through the meeting. We know we have got some ECD principals that are also going to join us and a few of our partners. We want to welcome you all. You are welcome to turn off the videos if your connection is poor, and may we mute our mics so that we are able to hear the presenter. Thank you so much. At this juncture, I am going to call upon our CEO, Donovan, to introduce the annual general meeting minutes of 2020 and getting them approved. Thank you. Over to you, Donovan. So it was 2021, sorry, I said 2020.
Good morning, Marjorie, and good morning to everybody, and a warm welcome to everybody here this morning. My first task today is quite a few tasks today, and the first of the many tasks is the approval of the AGM minutes of last year. As you can see on the screen there, the meeting held on the 15th of May 2021. So yeah, I would like to propose that I need to call for the adoption of the minutes. So if there's anybody that wants to, the minutes were obviously, they were available on the website or posted on our website for everybody to have a look at. And I hope that people had a fair chance to look at the minutes of last year. So our first task is the adoption of this minute. So can I ask for the adoption of these minutes? A proposer and a seconder, please. So we have Isabel, proposing, and then is it Mumba? Mumba has seconded the adoption of the minutes. Thank you for those two, and then yeah, we can move on to the director if everybody's happy with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Donovan. Before we move over to the CEO speech, Mr. Donovan, we do have a few apologies that have come through. If you could go through those, then you can go ahead with your speech. Thank you.
Yeah, just a few apologies received from board members, from the following board members. Unfortunately, they cannot be with us today, and those apologies come from Mogi Das, Helena Duke, Gemma Oberth, Nicola Lloyd, and Gina Leinberger. So just for the record, they have submitted their apologies for not being able to attend today's AGM, unfortunately. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. We now move over to the CEO reflections of 2021 and his speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you once again, Program Director. So allow me to just share a few of my reflections. I'll be brief, I won't be long. On my first, I've been in office for 15 months now, can you believe it? And I joined the organization last year in February, and it's been quite an exciting journey for me thus far as the new CEO of this organization. As we began to implement our new 3-year strategic plan, which is all about growth and expansion. And it was indeed an interesting learning curve on so many levels. Obviously, we're still in a pandemic, in a global pandemic, and the impact of COVID-19 continues to be a major factor in 2021, the year that we're reporting on, in SAP's program to educate the children and youth of Philippines surrounding areas to offer them a brighter future. So despite the COVID-19 regulations and related challenges, I must commend our team who have persevered and were very creative and innovative in supporting our beneficiaries and partners across the education spectrum in the best ways possible. Our staff has shown great resilience, and I once again want to thank them for that, staying committed and dedicated to serving the community of Philippi that we focus on, despite an onslaught of targeted violence against our staff members. There were 3 car hijackings in this period, unfortunately, and which left the staff traumatized and led to the loss of 2 of our 3 vehicles in our fleet, which were not recovered, sadly or unfortunately. These events impacted profoundly on the morale of staff and operations, as you can imagine. But at SAP, we always overcome adversity to continue to deliver quality programs to the community we serve, which is ravaged by a myriad of socioeconomic issues that create barriers to learning among the youth that we serve. On the positive side, though, there were many highlights, and we'll hear from these. We'll hear from the program staff in our annual reporting or presentation. We'll see some of the highlights, and I'm just going to allude to some of them. From ECD level, that includes the infrastructure developments, which we're very excited about, and Pumeza will report on that. There's been an expansion in the reading and literacy program, in the Siakatala program at a primary school level, and Alerato will report on that. We're excited about Vukani that has now eventually joined the Siakatala program. So we're expanding beyond Siazaka that we were serviced all of the years. HSP, the Hope Scholars program, continues to support high school learners through our psychosocial support and environmental education opportunities. Highlights also include the flexibility of the implementation model of the post-matric programs, that is the bridging year and the tertiary support programs. And a lot of progress last year have been made towards the accreditation of the digital literacy module within the bridging year program, and Masisa will talk more about that a bit later. We've also strengthened the environmental theme in the work we do and adopted an education for sustainable development approach. The latter includes piloting a very exciting school indigenous greening project in 4 schools, which we commenced this year, but a lot of the work has been done last year for us to be able to pilot the project this year. Also, our capacity to expand our programs has been boosted by 8 Groensebense interns through the Groentebense program funded by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment for 12 months. And they are strategically spread across the organization. This is a wonderful partnership that we have with an organization called WESA, the Wildlife Environment Society of South Africa. So we are thankful for that as well. And that was quite a highlight in these young people joining, these graduates joining our program that could assist us in expanding and growing as per our strategic plan. Lastly, as I conclude, on behalf of SAP, we would like to thank all our loyal supporters, our funders and partners throughout this difficult period and the struggle global economic climate. We look forward to welcoming new partners though and funders on board. And we are confident that as we grow towards sustainability, that we continue to learn as an organization and strive towards excellence in providing the much needed support to the communities we serve. SAP's program offering from cradle to career will also continue to be an attractive investment to many potential funders out there. Thank you very much, Program Director. Those are just some of the key aspects of my reflections. I've really fully enjoyed, as I said at the start of this reflection, that this has been a tremendous learning curve, an exciting period for me as well. And I'm looking forward to the next financial year. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Donovan. We are proud of all the events that you have outlined. So to hear more on the activities that happened on 2021, we will go through our annual report, which Tracy has posted in the charts, and you can also find it on our website. And for now, I will call upon Ms. Phumeza Mahobe, who will represent the ECD team, and she will take us through the interventions that happened in 2021. Over to you, Phumeza.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Sorry, Phumeza, there's a bit of feedback in the BG office. Andile, will you be to the assistance, please?
Thank you, Marjorie. Am I audible now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. I'm reporting on behalf of the ECD department within SAP. The ECD continue to contribute to the well-being of children in Philippi. And in this past year, we were able to ensure the sustainability of registration in 4 ECD centers on full registration and subsidization. And also we added 15 centers on the Vangasali registration pilot to be registered and subsidized. We also enabled centers to receive 57 kids on the toddler and the grade R. We were able to deliver on 26 training sessions, 14 being the learning program, 3 sessions on the DSD norms and standards, while 6 were inclusive education, 2 were parenting workshops, 1 was COVID compliance. We were able to assist ECD centers on a quarterly basis with PPE supplies, and those distribution happened for 17 times, and of course, supporting 117 centers. We're also able to provide 193 sessions on-site mentoring, that is classroom support, the mentoring in classroom, and also the mentoring of principals. We're also able to deliver on nutritional support, that is your 90 centers received nutritional support to the value of 1,500 each. So we were able to also to deliver on the structural upgrades at 3 centers, namely Sivukile, Sitembele, Lundu, We were also able to deliver on research that we needed to undertake to test the effectiveness of our programs, that being the early outcomes measure, that test the child's performance against the 5 developmental domains. That test indicates really whether learning program is being implemented effectively and efficiently in our centers. So those results are the ones that are guiding us in the submissions of proposals and as well in the dosage of interventions that we are doing. Thank you. Can you move? Okay, we have not implemented the program without challenges. We experienced quite a lot of challenges due to the COVID-19, those being centers unable to remain open, and of course needed further nutritional support because most of them were unfunded. Also the staff turnover in terms of the trained staff now that we're losing for people having looked for jobs elsewhere, as well as also the volatile environment guys of crime in Philippi. We've been hijacked 3 times. And of course, as the annual report says and the CO has mentioned. Also, we have lost quite a lot of learning resources because so many centers had closed down due to COVID. And of course, we delivered on first aid compliance. And of course, the compliance in the first aid was not right in terms of centers replenishing. The registered centers also are at the risk of losing registrations because of the non-compliance and the red tape that they faced in terms of the compliance in the municipality. Well, we are playing a short video of the upgrade, which is the final upgrade that was taken in the last quarter of the year, which is Sivukile. We apologize for the condition of the video. I just want to mention that that was a comprehensive upgrade, and in any case, it's not an upgrade, it was a rebuild and the deliverable of a good structure that was afforded to this center, affording them 3 classrooms, affording them a fully fitted kitchen with stove and cupboards, and as well as kitting the classrooms with equipment. This center, as you see, is functionally ready for operations. And of course, it was launched earlier this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kumeza, for your comprehensive report. We move over to our primary school program, which is Siakatala, represented by Lerato. Over to you, Lerato.
Okay, thank you, Major. Hello, everyone. I'm Lerato Lislabati. I'm the program coordinator of the Siakatala program. Let me take you through our 2021 highlights. In 2021, we began our food program again, a little late, but better than 2020. We then decided against recruiting a new grade 3 cohort in order to concentrate on the grade 4s and 5s who had not benefited from our whole 2-year program. The learning gym became very popular with the grade 5s and actually had 122 turn up to take part while working with our usual smaller cohort of 53 grade 4s. We received the exciting news that we had received the new funding from DGMT and also the Heinz Horizon Trust towards the end of the year. And that enables us to expand to new schools in 2022, as well as to start in the greening project to include the eco-literacy project with HSP as the lead partners. We were also lucky to welcome 2 new interns from our Juan Sebenza program who will be leading on that for SP. Okay, now let me take you through the journey of how we operated. There is a check-in system which was introduced to us by Ann Witt. When the learners come, we first check the mood in which they are. So a learner will hold a pad written his or her name, and then they will put against the mood which they are feeling. We have the moods like I am happy, I'm okay, I am sad, I am angry, or I need someone to talk to. So this system has been helpful in that in one of the cases, we discovered that there is a learner who had put her pack against, I need someone to talk to, and we realized that she had problems, and then we later on helped her. So there on the other picture, you see our circle time where we normally have an icebreaker and we introduce our learning muscles to the learners. Yeah. Then also you can see the learners are reading. We normally have a team reading whereby learners will read in smaller groups and they give each other a chance to read. We also had a visit from CITIT. That's the Cape Town Environmental Education Trust. Yeah, they came and graced us with numerous visits to the school. They came with programs that are CAPS related. The grade 3s enjoyed a puppet show while the grade 4s were learning about plants. They also got an opportunity to be involved in an activity that required them to differentiate between the plants that they know and those that are found in their hometowns back in the Eastern Cape. They also did some artwork in drawing such kinds of plants and did cutting and pasting as well. You can see there is the CITIT, and then that's the graduation that we had towards the end now of the year with our grade 5s who had now been with us for a whole 2 years. So we then closed our year by holding that graduation for them. And our Juan Sebenza interns helped us very much with the preparations and hosting the ceremony where we issued certificates of appreciation, awarding the best attendance and best behaved. Well, for me, my personal highlight was the introduction of eco-literacy and the preparations that were put in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lerato, for your report. We move over to our Hope Scholars program. Andile.
Oh, thank you very much, Mama Mej. Welcome again, everyone, and good morning, and for blessing you with your presence in this busy Saturday. So the year started quite well, better than 2020, with all the lessons that we've learned from 2020 when the pandemic started. So we started with 134 learners, which were our focus group to participate in all our excursions and intense workshops. We also extended our activities to the entire grades at both schools that we work with, which is Sukanyo and Sopumelela. So that sums up to about 720 grade 8s within the 2 schools. So we've ran numerous workshops, we've ran numerous activities as well, engaging workshops to find out what the learners are going through. Of course, this didn't go without the parents' meeting, which is we value very much within the program, to give us a go-ahead for them to understand what we need from the parents, what the kids will be gaining from the program. So we had 7 workshops that were covered, that covered topics from mental health and motivating the kids to stay at school, the importance of education and all that. We had 6 workshops that were held in school for the entire grades, which included identity, for the kids to actually identify themselves as who they are, not from what they see on the social media, their Instagrams and all that. We did, one of the schools requested a session on bullying because they were experiencing a serious matter of where a child even attempted to commit suicide because of bullying. So we ran that workshop and it was really well received by the school. And we did posters and we left those with the school. And the highlight of the program, I think it would go to the field trips we did at Kirstenbosch, the partnership we did there where we could take 180 kids to the garden. And the kids really learn a lot about greening, about living with the environment, about taking care of the environment, and about allowing the environment to take care of us. And with all the protocols against gatherings, we did manage to have one hike with 25 learners at the end of the year, which was really exciting for the kids. And we hope to do more to catch up on that this year. And last but not least, the program welcomed a very energetic individual to take over the program, to focus on different aspects of the program as the greening and other aspect, and adding more schools and working with SP and all that. So it comes with high expertise in that field, and we're excited to have him on the organization. And that's Leslie Chabaleng. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andile. A warm welcome to Leslie. We move over to our post-matric program. Nosisa, will you take us through, please?
Thank you, Marjorie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nosisa Mhlati, and I am the post-matrix program coordinator. I coordinate the Bridging Year program and the tertiary support program. I will start with the Bridging Year program. In the Bridging Year program, we continued to offer support to students by means of facilitating sessions in the following modules: academic literacy, critical thinking, digital literacy, social work groups, as well as individual sessions, and career guidance and counseling. We also offer environmental excursions and hikes to our learners, as well as community service. Community service is part of giving back. We encourage all our students to take part in it and do volunteer work on the days when they are not attending classes with us. This is to help assist the students to gain valuable work experience, as well as build their skills while they're doing this. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. Thank you. Okay. One of the challenges that we faced in 2021 was the late start of the program due to the matric results for the class of 2020, which were released almost 2 months into the new year. However, we managed to start the program with 23 students, 29 female, 14 male students. 23 students further completed the program, with 18 now who got accepted into tertiary and are now part of the tertiary support program. Halfway through the year, we were faced again with more challenges where we, for the entire month of July, we had no classes as we navigated through the COVID-19 lockdown. As well as in the Western Cape, we were affected by the taxi violence that kept our students out of the classroom. As a result, we managed to only have 24 Bridging Year sessions. This, of course, excludes psychosocial support. In psychosocial support, the program was disrupted by our social worker leaving partway through the year and a difficulty in finding a replacement on time. However, we managed to have 11 social work sessions and 31 individual sessions. And as a result, 11 cases were identified, and further support was students were assisted with further support, and those cases that need referrals, they were referred for extra support. We also have successfully hosted some workshops as well as events. We had a very successful orientation in the beginning of the year, which was followed by a workshop on democracy education hosted by IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission of South Africa. One of the highlights was also our career exhibition. We held our first career exhibition, which was very successful. Students were introduced to a wide variety of careers for them to consider before making their applications to higher learning institution. This was well received and it was very successful. We managed to have 2 hikes despite all the challenges mentioned before. And one of the highlights again was also a writing workshop, which was hosted by Dr. Nick Wood. The workshop was themed Facing COVID and Beyond. This was to help students cope during COVID-19 pandemic, as well as learn skills and tips to improve their storytelling abilities. And it was also designed to show them how storytelling can be a positive coping mechanism in challenging times. Students were encouraged to imagine a future post-COVID and to create stories based on that. We ended the year with graduation, with our annual graduation, where students were, we went to Cape Point and they had fun. The next slide is a video by Luxolo Mlonyeni, one of our BY alumni, now currently in the tertiary support program. She will be speaking about how the Bridging Year program has prepared her for tertiary. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Luxolo Mlonyeni and I was part of the SAP BY program for the year 2020. SAP has helped me a lot. It has shaped the person that I am today and has also equipped me with all the skills that I need for university. Skills such as critical thinking, digital literacy, and communication skills. I have learned the importance of mental health and taking care of yourself. I have also learned how to better communicate with people, and I have also increased my social skills and I know how to speak to different people now. So I was very fortunate to be part of the BY program and I am happy to be part of the SAP family. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll move over to the tertiary support program. In the tertiary support program, we started program activities in April only. The challenge was the delay again in the start of the 2021 academic calendar in the higher learning institutions. We continue to offer support in the following activities, where we offered administrative support, financial support, support by means of workshop and events, as well as the advisory program, psychosocial support, and environmental excursions and hikes. Thank you. Next slide. Okay. A total number of 58 students enrolled in the program in 2021, with the majority being female with 71% and male students being 29%. So we had 41 female students and 17 male. The majority of the students were attending Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Others institutions included the University of the Western Cape, Nelson Mandela University, Free State, and several higher learning institutions, the technical and vocational education training colleges, TVET colleges. One of the highlights in the tertiary support program was that on the 24th of April, 2021, the tertiary support program celebrated 10 graduates who completed their studies in 2020 academic year. And in 2022, we are or will be celebrating eight graduates who completed their studies in 2021. We also successfully had excursions, workshops, and events. We started with student orientation, which was very well attended in the beginning of May. That was shortly followed by the advisor-advisee orientation. We again had IEC, who hosted a workshop on democracy for tertiary support students. We had our CV writing workshop one of the highlights was the mental health workshop, which could not have come in at the very needed time. We hosted this workshop in later in the year, in October, to celebrate to recognize mental health. Our students really needed it as they were at that time busy preparing for exams. The workshop was run by the former Cape Mental Health employee, Shamila Ownhouse, and the theme was Tools to Thrive, with focus on helping students to find healthy ways to cope with stress. We then successfully held 4 hikes. One was a combined hikes between the students and their advisors. We ended the year with our annual end of the year celebration. Next slide. Okay. The advisor program. So the advisory program works to ensure that every student gets settled and is able to access the resources available on campus to assist them when needed, and to make sure that every student is on path to success, to successfully graduate. We successfully paired 46 students with advisors. There were different ways of communication, but mostly WhatsApp was the most used mode of communication, calls as well as messages. We mostly, between advisors and their advisees, they mostly discuss issues that had to do with academic support, and these were followed by career counseling and guidance, as well as discussing personal issues and offering tips for planning and dealing with stress, especially during exams. And advisors also assisted their students in staying motivated. Some advisors supported their students by providing additional resources such as data, airtime. The majority of professional support initiatives related to also creating networks and opportunities for students. We successfully managed to support students further by means of purchasing 5 brand new laptops, thanks to the Seroptimus International Fund. We also distributed 30 food vouchers when needed. We continue to offer career counseling. Our in-house tertiary support officer would also do regular check-ins with the students by means of phone calls, email, WhatsApp, group chats. We also assisted students with financial support and academic support, which included printing, binding of textbooks, transport, and food. The next slide is a video by Basetsana Lekana, who is now alumni and an advisor. Basetsana will be talking about how the tertiary support program has impacted her. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Dijeng Basetsana Lekena. I was part of SAEP back in 2016. In 2017, I started my first year at Cape Peninsula University of Technology, where I was studying my National Diploma in Public Management. In 2021, I obtained my first qualification in Public Management. 2022, I obtained my second one in Public Administration. That was the Advanced Diploma. SAEP, guys, has been nothing short of amazing because they supported me throughout my university journey in making sure that I fulfill everything that I needed to fulfill. At SAEP, we had programs like mentorships, we had advisors programs. Those programs really helped us a lot because each and every time we come across difficulties at the university, we knew that we had people to talk to. So we didn't have to face those challenges all by ourselves. Hence, I'm saying SAEP has been there for me since I started my first year at university. And I am forever grateful for those mentorship programs, the advisors programs that SAEP has provided us with. And I will be forever grateful because if it wasn't for those programs, I wouldn't be where I am today. And if it wasn't for SAEP support, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't have accomplished what I have accomplished today. So I want to say thank you so much, SAEP, for your support.
So, thank you so much, Nosisa. That was a comprehensive report. We now move over to our cross-cutting themes that will be presented by Tracy. Over to you, Tracy.
Thank you so much, Marjorie, and good morning to everyone. Okay, so for cross-cutting themes, we looked at all the statistics across the organization and group them into common themes. So I'll start off with the total number of primary beneficiaries. Those are beneficiaries that we work with directly. We had 1,217. Our secondary beneficiaries are our ECD children, and we have approximately 6,000 children attending ECDs in Philippi, but we do not count them as primary beneficiaries. Rather, we work with the center to benefit them. So that's why we don't include them in this number here. Just to break down the figure into male and female, there were 300 males, and the majority of our beneficiaries are female at 917. For psychosocial support, there were 10 cases that were carried over from the end of 2021, and when our new social worker started, she then worked at resolving those cases. We were also able to host 11 social work groups before our social worker in 2021 departed. Under mentoring and coaching, we had 193 ECD mentoring sessions, and that focused on both classroom support for the learning program, as well as support for the principals under compliance. For TSP, our official sessions that were had with the advisors were 18, but there were often chats and calls going on that were perhaps not recorded. For our TUSO relief fund distribution, we were able to distribute 97 food parcels, 30 food vouchers, 4 laptops to TSP learners. Sir Optimus did donate 5 laptops, and the 5th laptop stays in the TSP office, but 4 were distributed to students for them to use at home and on campus. And then we also distributed 58 learning materials. Finally, under environmental awareness, we were able to host 23 workshops and activities with an environmental theme, 5 excursions, and 6 hikes during the period under review. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We move over to our fundraising and sustainability. Ms. Soko, will you take us through your report? Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. Good morning, everyone. Fundraising during COVID has been a learning experience, most significantly the necessity to embrace change and innovation. We were successful in attracting new funders and collaborations to support our programs. We have 3-year grants from Alan and G. Greer Foundation for our operation costs, and Hans or Hansen Charitable Trust, which is supporting the Siakatala and Hope Scholars Program. The funding is for environmental education and indigenous gardens. In partnership with Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, we accepted 9 interns to spearhead our environmental focus. Thank you to all our dedicated funders and supporters for making a difference. The graph shows the donations that we received in 2021. Please note, this is not the total SAEP income, but only the donations. So as you can see, the graph shows 42% of our donations were from the South African government, and this is from the Department of Social Development and the Vangasali project, which is supporting the ECT program. From trusts and foundations, that is local ones, we received 29% of our donations, and for local institutions, we received 14%. From SAEP US and foreign trusts, we received 80% of donations, and from individuals, that is local and foreign. So for individuals, these are our angels, and any supporter, we received 7% of the donations. Our total donations for 2021 were 11,309,620. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mumba. Indeed, we need a lot of funds to be able to carry out the work we are doing. We move over to our finance manager, who will be taking us through the financial report for 2021 on behalf of our board treasurer, who is not in the meeting today. Over to you, Lee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'd like to say I feel very grateful to be here this morning, and also to say that we're also very grateful to all our donors for the continuous support through the pandemic. Also a thank you to our auditors, Lowe and Schreiber Accountants, for going through our audits and giving us a clean audit for 2021. So you have in front of us the statement of financial position. So this reflects our current assets at the end of the year 2021, which just totals just over 3.2 million, very similar to the year ending at 2020. We also have just over 2 million, which are funding reserves for our programs. And these funds are being carried forward from 2021 into 2022 to be spent in this year. We're also very fortunate that our financial position reflects that our year in 2020, given COVID and the pandemic, we still received our funding and had continuous support, and our large numbers are still the same compared to 2020 and 2021. Next slide, please. We reflecting our statement profit or loss. So our total income in 2021 is a little bit higher than 2022 due to the donations and the government grants that we received, which is additional support spoken above in the programs for a project called Vangasali, and this was to support ECD centers in Philippi, and also support from AfriSAM to build the Sivukile Education Center in Philippi. Also, as our fundraising officer had mentioned, we received a 3-year grant from Alan Gray, and also including our Holzheisen funding, which has been received late last year to be spent this year for our greening program. Our TUSO program has not received as much income in 2021 versus 2020, and we continue to ask for support as it remains in need going forward. We end the year off with the accumulated funds at the end of the year of just over 1.1 million. Next slide, please. We have a look at our programs across income and expenditure. Just to note that the slide does include some funding brought forward from 2022's reserves to be spent in 2021. You'll see that most of the programs has managed to receive the relevant funds to continue their program successfully in 2021, largely being ECD due to the Vangasali AfriSAM project that I've mentioned before. Speaking to the above, I would like to say that we have been very fortunate to receive this funding to continue the work that we do at SAP, and to be part of this work, even though in a financial position. But we just like to say thank you to all the support that we've received thus far. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you so much, Lee. At this juncture, we open up for questions. If there are any questions, comments on the annual report, the financial report that Lee has presented. Tracy will be checking in the chats. If there are any questions, we are also welcome to raise our hands.
I don't see anything as yet, Moj.
All right. So it seems we do not have any questions. We will move on. Oh, wait.
Sorry. We have 2 hands. So the first one, GA, if you could go ahead. Is Galaxy A32. Okay, they put their hand down. Over to Harun Muhammad.
Thank you very much. Just checking if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
No, thank you very much. Well, firstly, just to thank the whole team for a very creative and clear and well-organized set of presentations, and obviously for the relevance of the work. I'm not sure if I understood the financials clearly, but let me ask the question anyway. It looks like the projected expenditure is going to put us into a deficit. What are the plans for addressing it if my reading is correct? Thanks.
Arun, sorry, can you, are we speaking about the profit and loss, or you speaking to the balance sheet, just that I can be clear?
From what I could see in the documents, it looks like the projected expenditure is going to put us into a shortfall. If that's my, I'm also relating this to the other documents that were circulated as part of the work of the organization. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Arun. Can you just go back to the previous slide, the profit and loss, or forward, sorry?
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so in the previous year, Harun, in 2020, we had a brought forward balance, and we then came forward with that brought forward balance, which I think it was about 725,000. So we have gone slightly over in 2021. This is also due to, I think we wouldn't have gone over, but the fact was that some funding from specifically AfriSam was due to come in December. And that was postponed, and it only came through in 2022. So hence it looks like we went over, but those were the receivables that was received in the year 2022. In terms of the other documents that were circulated in the board, those documents, yes, that is sort of a different scenario than the AGM, if I should put it that way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tracy, I see we have Galaxy 832. You can come through. Sorry, I can't identify who is behind Galaxy 832.
Good morning, everyone. Galaxy 832 is Aitin Rabani, Child Save South Africa.
All right. Go
Somehow my
ahead.
laptop just gave up on me, and I've switched over to the phone. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for the invitation. Great delivery of your programs and where you are at. If I was on orientation, I would by now have had a really great idea of what SAP is all about and what is behind the programs. What I really, really like, and this is Tracy, the M&E cross-cutting presentation, a very powerful tool, very powerful insertion that you've had to this AGM. I really, really like pulling it all together from the cross-cutting themes and the info. It's a snapshot of where you are and where your impacts lies. I really appreciated that. Further to that, the fact that your programs have got that mental health awareness component to it, kudos to the team who incorporates the mental health aspect as well as that aspect on identity. You know, as a social scientist, and when we went through the schooling system, we were not aware of identity. We were not aware and taught about mental health and mental illness. And I think if you can make that sort of like a compulsory component throughout, you're going to do justice to the society of cohorts that we are focusing on throughout your programs and in other spheres as well, to have that continued focus on mental health. Our children are suffering. They are suffering in silence. Many times we can't even see, or we don't even know. But the fact that there is that awareness within a program, and that is normally that little candle that comes to their little blown out candle to light it for them to see the light. So I really enjoyed that aspect of what you presented, and I'm just encouraging you to do more of what you are doing, and do not ever lose that identity and the mental health focus within your programs. Well done to all the teams. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. We really appreciate those comments, and yeah, it gives us energy to carry on. Thank you so much. We move over to Tracy. Do you want to comment?
Just before we move on, there was just one comment in the chat from Kyan Skolts regarding the financial report. Kyan is a board member. I'll just read it out. This is the 2021 income / expenditure, so it's not projected. There was a net deficit of 108,487 Rand, but that just speaks to how much income came in that time period. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem, but we do need to watch the income versus expenditure in 2022. Thank you so much for that comment, Kyan.
All right. Thank you so much, Tracy. We will keep on checking the chat box as we go. We now move over to the adoption of our annual report, our financial report, as well as the appointment of the auditors. Just a reminder again that our annual report is on our website for the complete report on the work that we did in 2021. Over to you, Donovan.
Yeah, just once again, thank you to everybody that presented our annual report. And we've seen the positive feedback from our guests in the chat room as well. So thank you once again for the team for presenting, the wonderful work that was achieved during last year. And also for the team that has worked to put together the annual report. And as Marjorie has indicated, please go and have a look at the annual report. It's available on the website. So thank you to all involved in that process as well. And then also the financial report. I know it's been a stressful period for our finance manager and our treasurer working with our auditor, ensuring that we get a clean audit. And yes, there are some challenges, and as our board member Arun has alluded to, the challenges of 2022 ahead, there is a plan in place in terms of us working towards being sustainable in terms of fundraising. May I also just announce at this point then that, and I've seen that our new lead fundraiser, our head of fundraising and communications, has also joined us in the annual general meeting here this morning, and I see Mr. Shane Evans is present, and I would also want to take the opportunity to to welcome him. And he's starting on Monday, and we are waiting anxiously for you to start and work towards this organization becoming more sustainable in terms of our fundraising. And the third point of adoption would be the appointment of our auditor. Our current auditor is Mr. Mike Schreiber from Lowen Schreiber, and we are proposing that we continue with him as our auditor for the next financial year. So I would like to ask, I see there's a question from Jane, our previous director. Marjorie?
Okay. I was thinking that maybe you finish this part, then we will revisit the chat box again.
Okay, shall we continue then?
Yes, Tracy will be checking on the chat box. Once you are done with that section, then we'll move over. Thank you.
Okay, so the next action would be to call for the adoption of these the two reports, and then the appointment of the auditor as a collective. Can we have a proposer and a seconder for that? Nomsa proposes, and a seconder. Kyan, is that you seconding? Thank you. Can we all just raise our hands if we all agree with that? Unanimously? Okay, I see quite a few hands. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we move over to the appointment of the board members.
Thank you, Chair. So once again, yeah, another task to be done at our annual general meeting is the adoption or the appointment of the board. As you can see on the slide on the screen now, our current board members. As I indicated earlier, many of them could not make it this morning, and they've apologized. Just to indicate that of the board members on your screen there, our treasurer Nicola Lloyd has resigned, unfortunately. due to personal demands from her side, and so we're sad to see Nicola go, and we use the opportunity to thank Nicola in her absence for the wonderful contributions and support to particularly our finance managers over the years, and to us, and to me, and to previously to Jane as the previous director. So in her absence, we would like to thank Nicola Lloyd. Also, we had Fundiswa Yuba that also resigned last year, and we announced that in last year's AGM. So I would just, before we talk about going forward, the appointment of the new board or of board members going forward, allow me just to thank all the board members for their hard work, their sacrificing their time, their voluntary participation in supporting the work of SAP. So from my side and on behalf of the whole of SAP, we would like to thank the chairperson, Isabel, vice chairperson, Kane Scholes, that are present here, as well as Haroon, that is also present in the meeting. We want to thank you for the continued support that you've given us, and hoping to support on you going further as we work towards sustainability of this organization. So thank you. Can we just give a virtual applause through a hand clap to all of our current board members and those that have, and particularly Nicola that has completed her reign on the board. Okay, then going forward, Program Director, I would like to indicate that all the remaining board members, that is Isabel, Kain, Gina, Haroon, Mogi, Helena, and Gemma, are all available for re-election. So I would like to ask for the adoption of confirmation of this board, or somebody to propose that that we confirm these board members going forward, and somebody to second that, please. Can I call for that now? Zaytoon, the Galaxy A3, it's Zaytoon, I believe, proposes, and seconder. Marjorie, the chairperson, seconds. Thank you. Jane Keen seconds. Let us rather record Jane then instead of the program director. All in favor of the new board members? Can we confirm the new board members? Just by show of hand, just raise your hand once again, virtually. Yeah, we see quite a few hands being raised. So I would take that as adoption of, or confirmation of the board members, the 7 board members going forward. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the board members present here, Haroon, Isabel, and Kayan, and also in the absence of those other board members who can't join us today. Just congratulate them on the election for another year, another exciting year that lies ahead. And I want to wish you all the luck and going forward and supporting and representing SAP at the highest level. All the best to the new board members. Just before I end of chairperson or program director, just to indicate that we are in the process. We have already begun the process of looking for a replacement for our treasurer. That is a vital and a critical role to fulfill within the board. And so we have started that. The board has started that process for finding a replacement for Nicola going forward. So hopefully in the next month or so, we're hoping to be able to fill that important position on the board. So thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Donovan. I'm just realizing that we haven't adopted the financial report and the annual report. So I'll quickly call upon Isabel to just adopt those reports for us before we move over to the next session. Thank you so much. Isabel, if we could adopt the annual report and the financial report. We have done the auditor already.
Yes.
Sorry, Chairperson, just maybe a correction. I indicated that we do it as a collective. I'm not sure if you did not hear me correctly there. So I asked for, when we asked for the adoption, I asked for it to be as a collective, those 3 reports.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I think I missed that. Thank you so much. So we move over to the adoption of our constitution. I'll call upon Kayen. We have changes that were proposed in the constitution, and our vice chairperson is going to take us through those. Over to you, Kayen.
Thanks, Marjorie. And just to echo other sentiments already expressed this morning, I really appreciate both the significant amount of work that the SAEP team have done over the past year, as well as the fantastic, clean and very clear reporting that you've done this morning. So thank you, colleagues, for all of that work. So a slightly boring but important task is making sure that our governance is following the appropriate processes. And SAEP is a voluntary association and also a non-profit organization. And so we have a constitution that we need to amend from time to time. The process for doing these amendments is to basically inform people that amendments will be made to the constitution 14 days ahead of it. And then at an annual general meeting or a special meeting, propose those changes. So that's the process that we're following today. These changes are available on the website if anybody wants to actually look through the detail of the changes themselves, or to actually see the current SAEP constitution, which was last amended in 2017. But thank you so much to Tracy, who's really gone through the constitution and suggested some changes, as well as putting into this very helpful table, which helps to clarify exactly what the changes are that we're proposing here. So I'm going to go through them relatively quickly, but essentially what they are is primarily language changes, which better help to identify the organization SAEP is in 2022, because there have been some changes both in terms of programming and in terms of the way that we speak about our work. So essentially, first change is just the logo. Second change is to the vision. We went through a strategic planning process last year, and one of the proposed changes was to update the vision. So the language there has changed slightly. You can see the proposed change on the right. That's the proposed change to the vision. And then similarly, below it is a slightly amended wording for the mission. And the new mission is also there on the right. And then similarly, in terms of the program objectives, we've become a little bit clearer in terms of what we're, how we're describing the work that we're doing. Okay, can we move on to the next page there, Tracy? So I think important here is to look at essentially how we're talking about the work that we're doing. So we're being a little bit clearer specifically around the kinds of work, and again, the strategic planning process helps to contribute to how we're describing the SAEP work currently. An important reason why we need to update the constitution is because when funding organizations look at SAEP's work, they can sometimes look at the constitution to see, are we doing the work that when we put out fundraising proposals, they look to see if there's alignment between our organizational constitution and the fundraising proposals that we've put together. And particularly the insertion of this new clause to be very specific that we're supporting center-based or community early childhood development services and parent involvement in child development. That's critical, and we've seen it already with the Department of Social Development as being important for them to be able to see that in our constitution in order to feel comfortable funding us going forward. And then, yeah, these are slight wording changes, partly grammatical. Yeah, I think the page 2 change here is, yeah, I think the point is that we're trying to be a little bit more clear in terms of how we're describing the work that we're doing in the constitution. So no major substantial change there, just a point of clarity. And then the final point is that previously we'd said that we would hold the AGM within it was actually 5.5 months. So it was a miswording there, but before the 15th of May every year. We've decided that this is historically put us under a little bit of pressure from the end of the financial year, getting the annual financial statements sorted. It's the last few years we've sort of struggled to do it before the 15th. So we felt that extending that until the 31st of May would be appropriate and would help to keep the ensure that we have enough time to finalize the financial statements and get a clean audit before the AGM. So that's the reason for that change there. So those are the proposed changes. I'm going to call for a proposer and a seconder to support the changes to the Constitution. Okay, Harun is proposing and Isabel is seconding. We need at least 2/3 of members in the meeting to support the changes in order for them to go through. So colleagues, please, if you are comfortable supporting the changes, please do just raise your hands.
Ian, can I ask a question or make a comment?
Yeah, Harun, and anybody else, if there are any questions or concerns, also please raise them at this time. So Harun, please come in.
Okay, no, thanks. If we can just go back to the vision statement that. Okay, I'm just, it's not a major issue, but I'm just checking, normally vision statements are visionary and they're broad and comprehensive. And it appears as though the change we're wanting to make is narrowing down the focus.
Right.
And my sense is perhaps we should leave it broad-based. And if we want to focus in on Philippi youth, maybe that should come in the strategic or operational statement. But that's just a mild observation. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Harun. Let's maybe discuss that quickly and see if we can agree. So this was a matter of discussion over a number of years because, as you point out, the vision statement is meant to be elevated, but in a way, I think our understanding has been that it's been perhaps a little bit disconnected from what SAEP has typically been working on. So in a sense, the question of whether a vision statement should be as ambitious as so it can feel very disconnected if your vision statement is so disconnected from the core work that you're doing that it doesn't seem likely that you're going to be able to have that large an impact. So in a sense, we had narrowed down the vision with the idea that it would be more concrete and more, in a sense, something that SAEP felt that we could achieve over a sort of reasonable period of time. And so I think that was the reason for the narrowing. And you're right to say that it is a narrowing, that is the proposal there. But it was deliberate. That was the intention behind it. So if there are other thoughts on that, we can, if other colleagues do disagree that the vision should be narrowed down, we can revisit that. So Jane has pointed out in comment that it then excludes non-Philippi beneficiaries. Sure, I think that's an important point. So potentially, the word Philippi there potentially could be heightened to Western Cape. I mean, the area, whether we're talking about South Africa or Philippi here, seems to be the point of contention. Are there any other contributions to that point? Okay, so everyone's hands are up. I appreciate that, but it's hard to know if anyone is putting their hands up to comment. Donovan, do you want to come in?
Yeah, just to maybe, thanks for Arun for picking that up and highlighting that. I think we were looking at the 3-year strategic plan, and that is the vision that's captured within the 3-year strategic plan. But our point noted, and so I think Jane has also made that point. The Constitution is a long-term document that we don't want to regularly change, and reflecting on it now, the comments that were made, it makes me realize that maybe we should keep it, we should go back and keep it broad as it is reflected on the left-hand side, because it allows the options for us to expand should the opportunity arise and so on.
Right.
So yeah, maybe something to think about us before we adopt this. I don't know about other comments maybe.
So from the floor, what I'm hearing is we are comfortable with all the changes, but we can keep the vision statement as it was. Is that the proposal coming from the floor? Jane also is pointing out that the arts and culture question shouldn't be deleted. So essentially the question is whether it's currently something that SAP are likely to revisit. I know that historically for funding reasons, we had not been able to implement arts and culture, but it's possible that were funding to become available, that would potentially be an area of work. So I'm hearing two proposals. One is that the previous vision statement remain the same in the Constitution. And the second is that the arts and culture not be removed. Colleagues, I appreciate your hands are raised in support. Would you mind just putting down your hands unless you have a question, so I can come to you if you do still have questions?
Okay, Kellen, may I come in?
Harun, please, yeah.
Yes, and so maybe just a way to deal with this issue is in the vision statement, if you take Philippi out, it gives you enough breadth. And in the mission statement, you could just add a little clause to say with a particular focus on Philippi and surrounding areas. It may help to balance it out. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there is an intention to try and be quite place-based. I think that it sort of helps to make sense of the breadth of SAEP's programs make sense if you think about it in a specific location, whereas otherwise, if we don't think about ourselves as Philippi-based, it can be a little bit harder. So I appreciate that suggestion. So colleagues, the suggestion is we remove the word Philippi from the vision, and then we add the word Philippi into the mission. Which I think is a valuable suggestion. Then the additional suggestion is to remove the arts and culture, to not remove the arts and culture from the objectives. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, unless there are any other comments or suggestions from the floor, I'm going to call for support of the proposed changes with those two amendments. So please, if you wouldn't mind putting down your hands now, just so that I know who's, so I want to be able to see who is in support of that. So I'm going to propose those changes. Sorry, I see, yeah, okay. Now colleagues, if you are comfortable with those changes, please just raise your hands. Okay, cool. So we have more than 2/3 in support. So I hope, I'm not sure who's taking minutes today, but there is a recording of that. So if we could just make sure those changes are there reflected in the latest version of the Constitution. Thank you, colleagues. I realize that was a little bit detail orientated, but we do appreciate the feedback and the suggestions. Okay, I'm passing back along to Marjorie.
Thank you so much, Kain. Yeah, I think we have covered comments and questions, unless if we have got any more questions or comments in the chat box that we have not been covered already. Tracy, would you mind just reading through the chat box if there's anything that has not been covered?
So the only comments in here are regarding the changes to the Constitution. There is nothing particularly new, and I don't see any hands up with any. Oh, Jane's got a hand up. Apparently I have a hand up. I don't know why. But Jane?
Might be an old hand.
Oh, okay, it's down. I don't know why my hand is up, but I'm putting my hand down. Okay. No, I don't see any hands. And there are no new comments.
All right. Thank you so much, Tracy. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for participating. We are now coming to the end of our annual general meeting. I will call upon Donovan once again to give us the closing remarks. Over to you, Donovan.
There's a couple of steps before we get to closing remarks, Merge. We've got the team introduction and then the national anthem, and then we'll have Donovan's closing remarks.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, over to you, Donovan. You can introduce the team that is behind the wonderful work.
It seems as if there's a question from the BG office. There's a hand up, Midge.
BG office, you can come over. We'll see this. I cannot see the hand from this side. BG office, is that a question, comment? You can come through, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mitch. Isabel overseas. Thank you. I'm Nomsa from Kamani Education Center. I'm a principal of Kamani Education Center. I'm here to stand for Philippi Educate Forum and all centers surrounding Philippi. I want to thank SAEP for the support that they give us, especially in this past 2 years. 2020 and it was not 2021. It was not a good year, or easy year, but they managed to give us a support, such as training and donation in kind, and they also managed to build school. That is not a renovation. That beautiful school is built, but yeah, I want to thank them for the support that they give the centers around Philippi. I want also to say to them, they must keep on to do the good work, special for the young children in Philippi. Thank you so much. I know that there are things that I think Pumeza already mentioned, that the loss, yeah, but we're trying to work hand in hand now as we trying to work together as a team, the whole Philippi and Samora Machel to work as a team. We promise you guys that it's not gonna be a much loss again. We're going to talk to our staff to be work with us hand in hand, so that the loss mustn't be too much, like they do the training and the staff leave the centers and so on. Thank you so much for giving me the time for inviting us. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Nomsa. We are grateful for the partnership and the support from the ECD forums and the ECD community at large. And yeah, we really are grateful, and we base on you when it comes to safety in the community. Thank you very much. I go back to Donovan for the SAP team introduction and also the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch. So behind all of the great work that we have witnessed here this morning, as per the annual report, there are so many great staff members that are in the trenches, putting their lives at risk sometimes, working in a very volatile, hostile community such as Philippi, and we've seen that this year. So there you see some of the team members on your screen. Some of them are interns, some of them are young people that have joined us. Particularly this slide, you can see some of the Groensebenza young people that have joined us towards the end of last year, and some of them this year. So we applaud these young people that have been, many of them been thrown in at the deep end. There we see Tracy Paulus there, and maybe I must make use of this opportunity to say that unfortunately Tracy will be leaving us at the end of this month after more than 6 years, more than 6 years that she's been with SAP. So to Tracy Apollos, our M&E coordinator, we want to say thank you so much for the valuable contribution that you've made to this organization. We value the work that you've done over the past years, and yet again today, during the annual report, and we got some positive feedback from one of our guests here this morning around the M&E report and so on. So thank you very much, Tracy, for your valuable and amazing work that you've done over the years. We're going to miss you, but we want to wish you all the best. May you fly out there. We know that you are a great staff member that the Dal Foundation would get, and sadly for us it's a loss. But yeah, we wish you well on your journey. Also on the screen, you see faces of people that have left us in this period. Laura Schultz, who was our lead fundraiser and communications coordinator. And then Mam Kwani on the top right have also left us. She also finished at the end of last year, and she was responsible for the inclusive education and supporting the learning program within the ECD space. So also in her absence, we want to thank Mamkwani as well. So yeah, there you see the faces behind all of the great work, the amazing work that has been done in the past here, and we continue going forward. So yeah, as I said earlier, we lose some and we gain some, and yeah, we look forward to those joining the team going forward as well. So Chair, that's the team behind the amazing work that we do. Would you like me to do the closing now, then we end off with the anthem, or do we do the anthem?
Yes, please. The closing remarks, then we go to the national anthem.
Okay, so I'll just do so first of all, as per the closing, I would just like to thank once again everybody that has made this annual report, or the AGM, of which the annual report was presented here today, everyone that made that possible. I want to thank each and everybody behind this. You've seen the staff behind the different programs that we've spoken about. These are the people that are on the ground, making the difference, educating our young people in the community, our Philippine surrounding areas for a brighter future. Also, we had a very exciting stage of SAP. We in the second year of our 3-year strategy or strategic plan of growth and expansion. It is very challenging, as I indicated earlier. We're still in a global pandemic. We're still in a global economic, we still have a global economic crisis. We need to work smarter to be able to attract the necessary funding to make us sustainable for the future. I have all the confidence in the staff to be able to deliver quality programs. Like I said, we're looking forward to our new head of fundraising and communications, Mr. Shane Ebert, starting on Monday, and there's exciting prospects there in terms of a lot of work that has been done in the background in terms of concept proposal development. So we're going to hit the ground running. Harun alluded to the fact that 2022 might be a challenge in terms of our funding. So I want to say all the best to everybody, and thank everybody for for where we are at now and going forward. To the staff, yes, we've had lots of interventions this year in terms of getting our governance systems sorted. We've recently engaged in staff development, capacity development processes, all towards being more compliant and working smarter, working together as a team, having a systemic and holistic approach to the work that we do, but also our systems that we're putting in place. So I want to wish everybody well in terms of that. That's the SAP staff, but then also the board. Going forward, I've thanked them previously in terms of their contribution, amazing work that they've been doing, but also going forward, we're looking for more support and guidance from the board members, our partners that are here today. Thank you, NOMSA, for representing the ECD Forum. Thank you for being there at Beautiful Gate. We really appreciate the great work that you are doing, our partners. I don't want to use the term beneficiaries, because you are not our beneficiaries, you are our partners, and we are supporting, and we are so grateful that we can support our partners, such as the ECD Forum and all of the ECD principals, together with all of the schools that we're servicing and the young people that are part of our post-matric program. So thank you to everybody, our funders, our partners. Like I said before, I really appreciate and we as SAP appreciate the support. And yeah, I want to wish everybody well, and thank you so much for making the time this morning to join us in this session. I know Saturday morning is a difficult time to sacrifice, but yeah, hopefully next year, God willing, that we can have our first next post-pandemic in-person AGM. I'm looking forward to that. So fingers crossed that we might that we get out of this pandemic, that we can have our in-person AGM after all these years of this pandemic. So looking forward to that. So I want to wish everybody well and say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and also on behalf of the team at SAP. Thank you so much, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Donovan. Once again, we have come to the end of our meeting, and we are going to join in the national anthem. We can sing along, provided that we are muted. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Saturday and weekend further. Goodbye.
Yizwa imithandazo yethu, Nkosi, sikelela thina nosapho lwayo, murena buluka setšhaba sa Yesu, ufedise tentwale matswenye, usibuluke, usibuluke, setšhaba sa Yesu.
Sorry, I paused.
Setšhaba sa South Africa, South Africa. Lady Love van onze hier, geliefde van ons hier, onzekere gebergtes van die krasse antwoord hier. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us be strong for freedom. Let us fight for freedom. In South Africa, our land.
Goodbye, goodbye. We can just open up our videos so that we do an official goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you on Monday.
Ah.
Did you close program?
Wait for that.
Thank you, guys. We've made it under 2 hours. That's a great achievement. Yo.
Bye-bye. Yay, this was great.
Lovely weekend, everyone. Bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the donuts that prepared by Tara. Hi, Abu.
Okay, I am ending this. Thank you.
The record.